Christmas morning turned into a nightmare. When my husband unwrapped my affair in front of me,
I got the most terrifying Christmas gift ever, and it came from someone I didn't expect. My husband decided to wrap up a picture of my extramarital affair and leave it under the Christmas tree before vanishing without a single trace. This already sounds horrific, right? Well, the worst part is that he also hid divorce papers in another box. I have always loved Christmas all my life, but that day I cried myself to sleep. I am overwhelmed by his actions, and I am deeply traumatized. I can't even make sense of what is going on in my life right now. The last thing I expected was to be ghosted by my own husband and get gifted divorce papers. I'm a 27-year-old female from California, and my name is Tamara. Please do not think the names mentioned here are real. I have to hide my identity and that of everyone I'll be mentioning. My runaway husband, Luke, is a 30-year-old male from California. We currently reside in California, even though he is nowhere to be found as of now. This has to be the worst thing I have tried in my life. Truthfully, I hate the concept of bringing such a personal story here, but my circumstances have left me handicapped. These events took place exactly 7 days ago. It's been 1 week since my husband ran away and left me in this house. I have not told a single soul what happened, even though I am tempted to do so. The moment I saw the picture get wrapped, I couldn't bear to look at it, so I burned it immediately. I don't know how he got that picture, and I don't know where he got it from. I don't want to think of the possibilities, even though I already have an idea of what's going on. Yes, I have been having extramarital affairs. I'm deeply ashamed because my marriage is barely 3 years old. We're a young couple, and our marriage is still new. But I ended up cheating on my husband. Though I am not proud of what I have done, I need to say that I do not regret it. Please don't start judging me already. There's a lot going on here. I'm not interested in boring you with any backstory. I'll just get straight to the point for now. I'll make another update to explain things if there is a need. We all know Christmas Day is the 25th of December. I am a great lover of Christmas, and it's a day I look forward to every year. But this year's Christmas didn't quite end up good for me in any way. I celebrate Christmas from the first day of December because that way I get to have a good Christmas spirit in time. I know not many people believe in the Christmas spirit, but I am an exception. Luke hates Christmas, and that's the nicest way to put it. He doesn't like the concept of decorating the house every year during Christmas, even though he knows I love Christmas. But before we got married, we came to an agreement to respect each other's likes and dislikes. He doesn't like Christmas, so I make sure the decorations are not over the top. I keep it minimal and subtle. His sister told me there's no particular reason Luke hates Christmas. She told me that because I was confused when I learned that at first. I feared he had some kind of childhood trauma, but his sister explained that Luke just hated festivities altogether. That was a big relief because there was no way I was going to get married to someone with any childhood trauma. I don't have anything against it, but I'm not just ready to be overprotective of someone and take extra care of them. I like my personal space and independence. I don't want to have to take extra care of someone. This was my mindset years ago, and this is still my mindset years later. Eventually, we were able to get past differences before we got married. I made this point because I believe Luke chose Christmas Day to expose me because he knew how much I loved Christmas. That is a cruel man. I married a cruel man, and this is the perfect example. And I started cheating on Luke 6 months after we got married, so it's a surprise that he ended up finding out. I have a boyfriend, or rather an affair partner. I think the short form is AP, right? His name is Steven, by the way. My AP and I have been lovers since college, but we lost contact after graduation. I met Luke and got married to him. 6 months later, Steven made an appearance again. He claimed to still be smitten by me. Of course, I hated the idea of cheating on my husband, but Steven and I are literally soulmates. I've been crazy about him since high school before we officially started dating in college. After he left, I was literally traumatized. So when he came back and showed interest in me, I had no plans to shun him down. I accepted his offer and we started dating. He was aware of my marriage but told me he wasn't bothered by that. So that's how our affair started. I was 100% sure that I had no idea of my affair. I just knew he couldn't be that aware. Luke and I literally have the same work schedule even though we work at different places, but I just thought he was completely clueless and I could keep fooling him for as long as I wanted. I never felt guilty while I was dating Steven. I had zero guilt because I believe I'm not doing anything wrong. I need to not use past tenses because Steven and I are still together. It's just that I've ignored him since Christmas Day after I got the biggest shock of my life. From the picture I found in the gift box, I just know that Luke has been safe from me cheating for 2 months now. I am 100% sure about that. The details of the picture will be revealed later. But from the details I'm the picture, I recognize that he caught me with Steven 2 months ago. That was such a long time ago, but Luke kept the truth to himself. He didn't think about sending me a message or trying to talk to me. He just sent on with his life and pretended like nothing happened. And I have been here thinking that I am fooling him and I am being so smart and careful, yet I was the fool. On the 1st of December, I started putting up the Christmas decorations like I usually did. Normally, Luke would help me even though he hated Christmas. But this year, he claimed to be too busy to help me with it. I was very angry, but I didn't think his actions were because he found out the truth. I genuinely thought he acted that way because he felt grumpy or something like that. I didn't read it at all, but I guess that was a mistake. Let me make this clear, I didn't notice all these things back then. It's all just making sense after what happened on the 25th of December. I've had a full week to reflect and ask myself the necessary questions. I mean, anyone in my shoes would do the same because it's not every day your husband just disappears and then leaves you a naked picture and divorce papers as a gift. It's a very unusual situation, and this situation has left me traumatized. Yes, you absolutely read that right. Stephen and I were naked in the picture Luke left, but that is a story for a later time. For now, I'll just fill you all in on what happened during the start of the month of December up until Christmas Day. This month has been extremely different, especially in my marriage. Today is the 1st of January 2024, and I'm updating you all now because it took me time to get the facts straight. Luke turned into a different person entirely. He would snap at me and just reject all my demands without a second thought. I do not spend my money on the house. I don't get why I should spend my money on the house. I am the woman, and he's the man for a reason. I do work, but I always keep my money to myself. This has been a recurring conversation and argument in my marriage with Luke. He hates the fact that I refuse to contribute to expenses, and he always forces me to at least buy groceries or pay the light bill. Luke does give me an allowance every week, yet he still expects me to take money out of the allowance for the house. I've never liked the concept of doing that, but I tried once in a while just to avoid unnecessary arguments. But this month, Luke seized the allowance entirely. He stopped giving me anything, and any time I asked, he either ignored me or told me there was no money at all. I'm not a fool, and I could tell he was lying, but like I said, I love December and Christmas, so I decided to ignore his attitude and just have a great time. What added to my excitement was the fact that Stephen had taken a leave of work just to spend time with me. Well, that was what he told me. He claimed that he took time off work just for my sake, but now I've discovered that might not be true. It hurts me to know that's not true, but I'll also explain that later. Now let's get back to the pressing topic on ground. My marriage with Luke suffered more this month, but for everything we lacked in our marriage, I made up for with Steve. Even though my relationship with Luke wasn't stable, I didn't suspect that he knew about my affair with Stephen. I felt like if he had a clue, he would confront me. I believe this theory because Luke is naturally confrontational, so I expected him to come up to me if he suspected I was cheating on him. This never happened, so I was chilling with AP and also preparing for Christmas. For me, I was having the time of my life, even though my marriage was going through its worst time. But let's face it, it's a known fact that if a person cheats, they do not care about their marriage at all. That was the case for me. I didn't care whatever happened with Luke as long as I still had Stephen. That's what I thought, but on the 25th of December, I realized that wasn't the truth. A day before Christmas, Luke was home, and this was unusual. Thanks to the nature of his work, he had to work on Christmas sometimes. But his office gave him an exception. I found that very suspicious because Luke was always extremely busy during Christmas time. But then again, I didn't care to ask because I was still upset that he stopped giving me allowance. I literally had to shop for Christmas all by myself with my own money. I woke up very excited on Christmas Day like I usually do. My family always holds a house party every year on Christmas Day. The house party is always something to remember. So that's one of the reasons I was super excited. Luke wasn't in the room when I woke up, but I thought nothing of it. I got dressed and then I went downstairs to make something to eat. After eating, I decided to take a picture of myself beside the Christmas tree. I did that every year before sending it to my family group chat. Luke normally took pictures of me, but since I didn't see him, I took a selfie instead. I just imagined that he had to go to work since he was less busy on Christmas Eve. That was the conclusion I came up with in my head. But after taking the pictures, I noticed the tree was different. I saw 3 gift boxes under the tree, and that took me by surprise. First of all, I never put gifts there for myself ever. I felt that would be too cringe. Secondly, Luke had never put gifts under the Christmas tree for me. Whenever he wanted to give me a gift on Christmas Day, he usually just handed it to me. So that's why I found the gifts under the tree very weird and uncommon. So I decided to check it out to see what was going on. The first gift contained a note that simply read, "I hate you and I'm gone. Merry Christmas." That was all the note said. Immediately I read it. I literally got goosebumps all over my skin. I was extremely angry just reading what he said. I was also very confused because I couldn't understand what led him to write such a thing. It was very confusing. First of all, we were already having issues and he was acting weird and rude. So, for me to suddenly see gifts under the Christmas tree along with a note that read nothing but *T, I felt extremely gaslighted. I decided to digest the note and move on to the next box because I was very impatient. I had to be fast because I had to attend the house party at my family house. Stephen also texted me that he wanted to see me, so it was just too many activities lined up in one single day. The next box nearly gave me a heart attack. I swear that I'm not even exaggerating. I almost got on the floor and lost consciousness. It was a picture of me and Stephen. Yes, a picture of me and my AP. From the first note, I already knew the gifts were from Luke. So for me to see a picture of me and my AP in the next box, I just knew I had been busted. I knew it was over and there was nothing I could do about it. What's worse is that the picture is not something I would want my worst enemy to see. The picture is the most shameful thing I have ever seen. I had never felt guilty about cheating till I saw the picture. Stephen and I were naked on the bed doing you know what. We were intimate and I, a married woman, was acting like a single lady. I actually threw the picture on the floor out of horror because the picture genuinely terrified me. I couldn't believe that Luke had gotten his hands on such a picture. I started asking myself a lot of questions. I questioned how Luke got the picture and how he even knew I was cheating. I also questioned why Luke would want to leave the picture on gift boxes and keep them under the Christmas tree. I had to take deep breaths before grabbing the picture a second time and taking a better look at it. There was nothing flattering about the picture, and I still regret everything I did there. I'm not exaggerating when I say my hands were shaking before I picked up the second box. I didn't know what to expect next. The happiest day for me turned into a horrific day. I do not think I can ever see Christmas or gift boxes the same ever in my life. Luke had to be the most cruel man on this earth. Why should he do that to me? What's his reason? I don't even know how he came up with such a disgusting idea in the first place. I understand his anger, but I do not understand how he chose to show his anger. It is not acceptable at all. The next box, I know you all are waiting for this one. What did I see in the next box? I saw divorce papers. I freaking saw divorce papers in that box. He also wrapped it up in a pretty Christmas ribbon, just like he did with the rest. I had to start calculating immediately, because I knew divorce osiers weren't just something you woke up and ordered to be delivered to your house in minutes. It takes time to file for divorce and then get the papers. That was the perfect explanation I needed. Thanks to the divorce papers, I figured out that I had known about my affair for a long time and just to get his revenge on his own way. That still didn't make the discovery less terrifying. I was shaking and I couldn't even call anyone to tell them how I was feeling. I got 3 shocks in less than 20 minutes all at the same time. My life flashed before my eyes because I knew it was over for me and my marriage. I couldn't call my family because nobody would take sides with me. My mom and brothers hate Stephen and my sister once dated him. None of them know Stephen and I have anything to do with each other. So I just knew that there was no way I could run to them or tell them what happened. I had to take everything in all by myself and get myself together. It was the most difficult day of my life and I couldn't call Stephen and speak to him. I just didn't want to speak to him. I might have cared less about my marriage, but I just know I cannot divorce Luke. Luke is like my support system. Luke gives me an allowance every week. It's thanks to him I have a roof over my head and he's the one that found me a job. I cannot leave him or get divorced. At first I went to sleep, then started telling myself things were not so bad after all. I believed that Stephen and I could continue our relationship and he would take care of me. Stefan does give me money once in a while and I know he's rich too. I believed that Stefan would have my back no matter what, so Stefan would take care of me until I discovered that I have been living a lie. I explained how everything has been difficult, right? Well, it's true. I called Luke's phone number several times, but he didn't pick up. At some point, he even blocked me. I was getting crazy just thinking about everything that happened, yet I had no one to talk to. My family called to ask why I wasn't at the house party, but all I could do was make up excuses. After spending 3 days alone in the house with only confusion as my best friend, I decided to go meet Stephen. I felt like he would be the best person to talk to because he was the one that understood my situation the most. So I did exactly what I wanted to do. But once I got to Stephen's house, it was locked. I called him to ask what he was and he told me he was home. But I was at his house and it was locked. I didn't tell him that though, I just ended the call and went on to ask one of his neighbors who is usually friendly with me. He told me Stephen had been absent from his house for 2 days straight. That didn't make sense because Stephen told me he was at home. So do you see why I'm having second thoughts about Stephen? He's lying to me and he's probably cheating on me. I cannot rely on him. I need my husband back. My husband is not picking my calls and he has ghosted me. He has practically vanished without a trace and I do not know what to do. I need help. How do I find him? How do I get him? I cannot get divorced. I need him back. Please help me. Update. Hi guys, it took 8 months, but here is an update. Thanks for the comments, even though most of you cussed me out in the comments. My Christmas was a disaster and so was my New Year. The year brought me so much pain and betrayal that I'm left extremely shook with how bad everything was. While I was busy looking for love and turning to make sure I could save my marriage, I divorced Stevan for cheating on me. Yes, you read that right. So many of you predicted this in the comments, but I just refused to see the possibility of that happening. I guess I trusted him so much that I wanted to think the best of him. But that trust has ended up slapping me in the face. He has been cheating on me even after telling me I'm the only woman in his life. I feel cheated and used. Men are actually scums, and that's the nicest way to put it. He lied. That's it, he lied. I have been open about everything I did. I never tried to lie or pretend I wasn't married. He knew I was married and didn't have a problem with it. But he told me he was single. Now I got to know he has a girlfriend he wants to marry. Just after my marriage crashed? Isn't this just too much to take in? Let's forget about Steven and talk of my now ex-husband, Luke. That man must hate me so much. He came back after 2 months only to send me outside of our home and drag me to court for not signing the divorce papers. I begged him to reconsider, but he refused. The court case drained me of all the strength I had left. I tried to stop the divorce or even draw it out so I could have time, but none of it worked. Our divorce will be finalized in 2 months and it's still like a dream. Luke applied for a transfer in November after finding out I cheated. He didn't tell me about it. He resumed on December 29th, and that's why he didn't go to work most of the days that led to Christmas. He's starting a life somewhere else and he has refused to tell me the location. He wants absolutely nothing to do with me, and he has made that clear several times. I gave up on our marriage after seeing the dirty games both him and his lawyer played in court. Stevan, on the other hand, has refused to not marry his girlfriend. According to him, he wants to marry his girlfriend and keep me as his AP, just like I did with him. I refused to be his second choice, so I said no. That man is just too vile and heartless. How could he try to do that with me? I can't believe the 2 men I thought I had in the palm of my hands have turned out to turn me into something else. I'm extremely devastated and I feel like I've been cheated badly. I risked it all for Steven, yet he turned his back away when I needed him the most. Luke hates me and has blocked me on all platforms. I'm still devastated, but I need to move on. I've been playing, but it's okay. I guess it's still my fault. I shouldn't have put all my eggs in one basket, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
My husband somehow found out about my affair on my solo trip and blocked all my cards. I am screwed. I wish I didn't do it. You know, I wish I could turn back the hands of time, and I would have not gone on a solo trip. My husband had organized it for me, so I would go and relax since I was working hard. But instead of appreciating that, what did I do? I committed adultery that led me to be the most broken person on earth. As much as I still want to fix everything and undo everything, it's a pity that time waits for no man, and what's done is done. Even though it was the only important chapter in my life. I had lost a dime while chasing for stones. I know what I did is unforgivable, and it was very selfish of me, but I got tempted. And during that temptation, I found myself falling for it. Not aware that it would somehow come back and bite me when I was least expecting. I went on a solo trip, hoping for some much-needed time alone, but little did I know that it would turn into a nightmare. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where everything seems to be falling apart? Well, let me tell you about my recent experience. My name is Emily Robinson, female 26, and my husband is Arthur Brown, male 29. My husband and I met at Cardiff. I went to visit my Nana, my mother's mom. Arthur lived there with his parents. Well, his parents and my Nana were somehow friends, or must I say they were family friends. One day, my Nana had invited them to have dinner with us. That time, Arthur had recently come back from the university. The dinner went well. My Nana had introduced me to Arthur, and we got along pretty well. Since I was visiting in Cardiff, and Arthur was also visiting, we decided to exchange numbers so we would be in contact so that we would be able to get to know each other. Arthur is a humble, respectful, and enthusiastic man. He was so gentle. Even the way he was speaking, his voice was soft, but carried a lot of authority. We became friends since then. We would check up on each other every time when we got a chance. He was my pillar and strength. He was the best friend I had ever had. He showed the most genuine love and care. He had that gentle, tender love, and he knew how to treat a woman. He valued communication, loyalty, and respect a lot. Our friendship was just everything and more. He was what most girls want and pray for. We were friends up until he finished studying in university and graduated. I was so proud of him when he was called to the podium to collect his qualification in science. Being a business scientist was always his dream. I was glad that he was actually a few steps away from achieving his goals. That time, he had been offered an internship in a data science company. It wasn't a lot, but it was a start, and I was so happy for him. On his graduation celebration dinner, his mother had hosted a dinner to celebrate his graduation and the new internship opportunity. His parents were so proud they wouldn't have to say anything to see that they were truly proud of their son. So that night, Arthur asked to take me out the following day before he went to work. I agreed to go out with him. I was already feeling the guy, but I was too afraid to confess my feelings for him because I was scared of getting rejected. The following day, he confessed his feelings for me. I was not expecting it, nor was I ready for it. I had thought that maybe he only took me as a friend, not someone he would actually share his love with. On another hand, I was happy at the fact that he had confessed his feelings for me. I also got a chance to confess mine, knowing that I was safe from being rejected. He wouldn't reject me when he had also confessed his undying love for me, right? I also told him how I felt about it. Since then, we officialized our relationship. We actually promoted our relationship from being friends to being lovers. I was ecstatic. We dated for a year and a half, then he proposed. His parents, along with my Nana, were so happy at the fact that we had actually met their hopes. I was surprised when my Nana told me that she had been praying that I date Arthur because he was a good, humble, and respectful young man with a good sense of humor. I just couldn't believe my Nana, but I was glad and felt blessed at the fact that she had wished and prayed for nothing but the best for me. I remember when Arthur's mom was so over the moon and busy gushing about the wedding. She actually wanted us to make her the wedding planner. It was somehow really funny to see her wanting to be hands-on like that, but Arthur didn't want her to be. So we had hired a wedding planner to take care of everything that we would need. I was focusing on having the best dress and best suit for Arthur. That's how happy I was with my wedding, and I couldn't wait for it to happen. 2 months later, we got married, and it was the happiest day of our lives. I was glad that Arthur didn't change when we got married or when we started dating. I mean, most people tend to change when they get what they want. But Arthur kept treating me like his friend and a lover. His love for me, or our love for each other, was not hidden. It was just visible to everyone to see that we were so much in love. We actually became like siblings because of the way we were free and sometimes crazy towards each other. Sure, we had our fair share of ups and downs, arguments just like any other couples, but we maintained the communication. We made sure to not go to bed while angry at one another. Another thing, we would just kiss and make up when we had been having an altercation or argument. Our intimate moments were always on a high level. I don't know if I was saying that because I loved and I still love Arthur, which is funny because I love a person who screwed me over in a most painful and unforgivable way. I think I loved our intimate moments because he was the one who broke my virginity. He was my first true lover and my first true friend. All along, I had been having or finding fake friends and playing boys who only wanted me to sleep with them so that they could discard me like an old used cloth or tea bag. I had my doubts about Arthur when we first started dating, but the time that we had spent in getting to know each other while we were friends really helped because I got into a relationship with him, knowing what I was outing myself into. It was nothing but bliss. Time passed, I started getting bored. I mean, I am a writer, so I was always in the house because I was not working for any company but myself. Arthur was always at work, and he would come back later when he had knocked off. He didn't change, you know. He was the same husband that I had fallen in love with, and my love for him kept growing each and every time when I looked at him. I loved the fact that he was very much supportive and always there for me when I needed him. I don't know what really came over me when I destroyed the only good thing I had going. So when time passed, I recently went on a solo trip, just some time to myself to relax and unwind. My husband had actually organized that trip for me to relax. He told me that I was working too much and had put too much energy and dedication to the book that I was writing, so I needed some time off. I was happy at the fact that he had actually thought of my well-being, because I tried telling him that I wanted to first finish the book, then I would go on a trip, but he refused. Then he told me that the book won't have anyone to finish it when I get sick and get admitted to the hospital. You know, sometimes I hate how he was always right about things. I was working a lot to a point that I didn't even get time for myself. But I can't complain because writing is what I love and what I am good at. It's the only thing that makes me think about only good things. It was actually like my meditation process. So I took his offer and went on a solo trip to South Africa. I fell in love with that country the first time I had visited with my Nana and my parents when they were still alive. I promised myself that once I start affording, I would go back to visit it again. The weather is so good and warm, it is a very relaxing country, despite the news that we would hear about it. South Africa is a very precious and welcoming country. I love everything about it, and I decided that during my solo trip, I would travel and explore South Africa. During my trip, I went to a province called Zulu-Natal or something like that. I'm the person who loves African cultures, and I must say that the Zulu culture really took my heart, from the activities that they do, food they eat, and their cultural sites, the way they dance. It's just so amazing. I really enjoyed my trip to South Africa, and I'm going to go back to visit again. I want to explore more about South African cultures, and maybe I will find myself learning a few African languages. While I was still enjoying the warm weather in Durban in South Africa, even going to the beach was enjoyable. So I went to this corner that sells Zulu traditional food around where I was renting. I bumped into a very handsome, well-built, and humble guy when I had just placed my order. The guy asked if he could join my table since the restaurant was full and I was sitting alone. I gave the guy a go-ahead, and he joined me. We waited for our food over some light conversation. During my trip, I made a terrible mistake. I had an affair. I thought I could keep it a secret, you know. But I guess nothing stays under the carpet for too long. I had picked up that he was also not from South Africa, but he was from Europe. We talked a lot and even shared our South African numbers since we had found out that we were renting in the same place in La Lucia. The guy introduced himself as William Smith, male, 32. He was good company and funny. He told me that he loved visiting African countries. We shared a lot, and I would say that I enjoyed my stay in South Africa. I had actually found something interesting to write about in my book. William talked up until our orders were called since we were not eating in. I wanted to enjoy my African traditional meal indoors, which was why I had ordered it as a takeaway. William asked to give me a lift from the traditional food corner to my apartment that I was renting. I couldn't decline his offer, you know. There was just something attractive with him, and I still don't know what actually drove me to William. Maybe it was his charms or something. I don't know. I was so taken by him. For some time, I had forgotten about my husband that I had left back at home. William became my foreign friend that I had never had. We traveled together around the province. I really enjoyed his company. So one day, William asked that we visit the newly opened bar near where we were staying. I couldn't say no, so we went, we drank, danced, and had so much fun. When it was time to go back to my apartment, I don't know what happened, but William and I kissed, and it felt so right. To my surprise, I didn't even feel guilty when I woke up in William's apartment. I knew that I was doing something that jeopardized my relationship with Arthur, but I felt like I needed to explore other intimate moments so that I would know how it felt like to be intimate with another person. I mean, in intimate moments, I had only shared them with Arthur only. I didn't know how it felt like to explore other intimate styles and positions, and William made me experience all that. I knew that if my husband was to find out, I would lose a lot and hell would break loose. I was doing what was against my marriage law and my vows that I had made in front of the Lord, my family, and friends. I was jeopardizing my marriage and my relationship with Arthur. I love my husband, or must I say my ex-husband, so much. But I also needed to feel myself for once. I wanted to explore other things and explore a new venture of intimacy. William's drive was really on another level. I felt like it was my first time having such a great intimate moment. Sure, my husband was explorative and did me so great, but William's exploration was top-notch. I enjoyed every moment with him, from how he was exploring my body, the way he was touching me, kissing me with his soft and tender lips. I knew there and then that I had caught some feelings for the guy. Our secret affair went on since I had extended my stay in South Africa so that I would have enough time with William. I think I had fallen for the guy, or am I wrong? I felt like the guy knew me and what my body needed without even asking for it. His intimate drive drove me sane into a point that it somehow felt like I had been brainwashed because I couldn't even think about the marriage that I was putting at risk. I was jeopardizing my marriage, knowing very well that if Arthur was to find out, I would be husbandless and maybe divorced. Little did I know that my husband had actually planned something drastic for me. I was busy enjoying my moments with William. Little did I know my husband somehow found out about my affair and things took a turn for the worst. I was enjoying my time away, exploring new places, plus it was my last day in South Africa. I knew that I had to go back home when suddenly I got a notification on my phone. It's a text from my husband, and let's just say, it wasn't a happy one. He had somehow discovered my secret and was absolutely furious. I knew Arthur when he was angry, and I knew when he was enraged. And in the text that he had sent me, he was really enraged. He wrote that he had sent me to the trip because he wanted me to relax and have some good time and take a break from writing. But that was the thanks he gets by going outside our marriage and committing adultery. He then said a lot of hurtful words that made me feel so much guilt in my heart. My mind had come back to functioning well. Mind you that teen William had gone back to Europe. Not to sound selfish or whatever, but I missed William so much. Well, more like I missed his S****. I know it was really wrong of me, but I just couldn't help it. That William was giving me more than what I was getting from my own husband. He knew how to explore certain parts of the body. His touches were magical, and I would always melt on his touch. It was like he had gone to school for his experience and skills in intimacy. You know when someone had passed with straight A's at school for some subject that they loved? That was William. It was like he had some sort of an intimacy qualification. Was I falling hard for the guy? But I don't think so. I missed William to a point that I actually found myself trying to call him, but it went straight to voicemail. I had even forgotten that I only had his South African number and not his actual number. I was frustrated because I needed him, at least to talk to him just to hear his voice. I decided to check him on social media, but I didn't find anything since he didn't even share his forename. I didn't know what to do because I really needed the guy. I ended up helping myself while saying William's name. I thought I could keep it a secret, but somehow my husband found out. And let me tell you, he was not happy. But wait, it gets worse. As if finding out about my affair wasn't bad enough, my husband decided to take things to the next level. He blocked all my cards, leaving me completely stranded without any access to money. Talk about being screwed. I couldn't believe it. Here I am in a foreign place with no way to pay for anything. It was like a nightmare come true. I had no idea how I was going to survive the rest of my trip. As if the emotional turmoil wasn't enough, my husband decided to take things a step further. He blocked all my cards. Yes, you heard that right. He cut off my access to any financial resources. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would my husband do something like that? Well, let's just say he wanted to make sure I felt the consequences of my actions. And boy, did he succeed. I couldn't believe him. I had thought he would at least wait for me to get home before doing such a drastic act. So there I was, stuck in a foreign country, with no money and no way to get home. It's safe to say that this was definitely not how I envisioned my solo trip turning out. Yes, I had wronged Arthur in a most possible way, but wouldn't he at least try and wait for me to get home before doing that? Till today, I am still trying to figure out how Arthur found out about my affair with William. Even though today I regret everything. I even regret going to South Africa and regretting that I didn't accept my husband's offer to have a trip, because now it had destroyed everything that me and Arthur had been through. You know, I tried booking the plane ticket using my cards, but they were all declining. It was so embarrassing and humiliating to hear a person telling you that your card was declining. Mind you, that time I didn't even have any friends nor siblings, but I missed him so much. Now I am completely screwed. I have no money to pay for my accommodation, food, or even transportation back home. I feel trapped and helpless. William and I couldn't get a chance to get to know each other on a deeper level. It was like the only thing that had connected us was intimacy, and it was really dumb and stupid of me to not try and find out more about the guy. I just couldn't believe Arthur. I mean, how he could do something like that to the person he claimed to love. I was so heartbroken to a point that I took the last money that I had and went to find a cheaper place to crash until I had found the way to get back home. It was a wake-up call for me. I never thought that my actions would have such severe consequences. I took my husband's trust for granted, and now I am paying the price. I tried calling him, but his phone was ringing unanswered. I needed answers on why he did what he did to me and how he found out about what I was doing in South Africa. I was so angry at him to a point that I even felt like I would slap him across his face if he was closer. I know what I did, and I am not justifying what I did, but what my husband or ex-husband did was too extreme and kind of low even for himself. He should have waited for me to come back right. As if that wasn't enough, the money that I had was about to run out. I called my Nana to help me, but I had run out of airtime. Mind you, I wanted to call the landline number at my Nana's house since she would sometimes not hear the phone ringing. My hopes were gone. I was about to be stranded and homeless in a foreign country because my husband had decided to just block all my bank accounts, including the one that I had been saving on. 2 days later, I received a call from Arthur telling me that he needed me home to finish the book that I was writing. He told me that he had booked me for the flight that would take me from Durban to Cape Town. My mind wanted to explode when I thought about the fact that I was screwed by my own husband. I thought he loved me, but all along he was pretending to love me. I used the last money that I had to book a flight to Cape Town, where I would actually take another plane to Los Angeles, California. I had enjoyed my trip to another country, but the very same trip had made me lose the only person who had shown me nothing but true love, respect, and loyalty. We had agreed and pledged to follow those rules even if we were apart from each other. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Let this be a lesson to all of you out there. Honesty is always the best policy. Trust me, you don't want to find yourself in a situation like mine. I am sharing my story with you today to remind you that every action has consequences. It's important to think before we act, especially when it comes to our relationships. Loyalty and respect for your marriage or relation is the root of a successful partnership. Arthur didn't file for any divorce, and we had decided to attend some therapy sessions and to learn more about trust, honesty, loyalty, communication, and respect in relationships. Even though the damage was great, we decided to be civil with each other and we would stay in different places. I still have hope that my husband and I would maybe someday fix things and go back to where we were. Our separation was really taking a toll on me and it was really depressing. Please give me ways to get my husband back. I need him and I miss him.